Her instructor followed her dad's SUV home since the girl was frequently late. Debbie observed that Maddie, a 10-year-old in her class, was acting a little oddly. When Debbie sensed that something was off, she rose from her seat at the front of the room and approached Maddie to find out what was happening. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Debbie was curious about Maddie's circumstances, but she had no clue that the response would prompt her to dial 911. Debbie Griffin has a passion for her work. She had the opportunity to mold future generations' thoughts while also nurturing and fostering their development. She constantly encouraged her students to confide in her if necessary, because she was aware that some kids came from less than perfect homes. Debbie realized something was off at that point. Maddie no longer showed up for school on time, and she constantly appeared worn out and unenthusiastic. Debbie made the decision to follow her teaching inclination. In fact, Maddie napped throughout recess instead of playing with the other kids. Debbie needed to find the truth. She would do whatever it took to comprehend what was happening. She had a strong eye for spotting when anything was wrong with a youngster, and she just wanted to make things right for Maddie. Maddie was seated by Debbie, who urged her to talk. After some conversation, Debbie came to the conclusion that the issue began at home. Debbie just knew that Maddie lived with her father and that they had recently relocated to Lakewood, but she didn't know much about Maddie's personal life because she was a relatively new student. There was nothing else that anyone knew. However, when Maddie began arriving late for school and entering with her father James, something had undoubtedly been wrong. Although Debbie didn't want to become overly engaged in Maddie's private life, she used her 10 years of experience in similar circumstances to see that something wasn't right. Debbie was aware that if she didn't intervene, Maddie's mother's lack of involvement and her habit of arriving late and exhausted may make matters worse. She felt compelled to take action. Debbie saw that Maddie was usually being escorted in by her father on another day when she arrived late. Maddie appeared to be carrying more than she was revealing, as seen by the constant bags beneath her eyes. Debbie realized it was time to take charge. She picked up her phone and dialed 911. What came next would astonish James Schweikart. After James dropped Maddie off, the cops made the decision to follow him home. As he climbed into his SUV and drove away, they could tell who he was by his shabby appearance. What the cops discovered was unexpected. When they reached his place, they surrounded him and demanded that he exit his car. The 41-year-old guy was encircled by cops who assured him they were only attempting to assist. They requested that he go out once more, but he refused. James had been having a typical day until now. He'd dropped his kid off at school, but as he got into his SUV, he spotted officers encircling him. When the cops dragged James from the automobile, he seemed to be a deer in headlights. Unfazed, Officer Butler carried on with his work. Bags, crates, and everything else James could fit into the ancient SUV filled every available space. The fact that James and Maddie had been homeless for 2 years and that their SUV served as their home caught Officer Butler off guard. In James's experience, the police showed little concern or assistance for individuals such as himself. James had no choice but to leave Oklahoma since it was no longer a secure place for them to reside. Their few resources were used for survival, and James and his daughter were unable to buy the apartment they so urgently desired. However, Officer Butler did something unexpected and chose to aid instead of handcuffing. While he worked to bring the community together, Officer Butler made arrangements for Maddie and James to remain at a homeless shelter close to the school. He then made the decision to investigate James's SUV. James marveled as Officer Butler mobilized the community to support them over the course of the following few weeks. Before long, everyone was aware of James and Maddie's tale. Officer Butler stated that it was the proper course of action, because we might all find ourselves in that same predicament at any time in our life. It is morally right to offer aid to another human being. After that, he and a few other cops started searching for James a respectable employment, and even assisted with the paperwork to rent a house in a desirable area. However, it wasn't all. James had been taking Maddie to school because his car hadn't been operating for more than a week. Both businesses provided complimentary towing and repair services, and Sergeant Butler made arrangements for a tow truck to transport the vehicle to Sun Valley Automotive for maintenance. The neighborhood was doing everything it could to support Maddie and James in the meantime. To get them started, people from all around the world gave food, clothing, furniture, and other essentials. The two of them would have a real bed and a genuine roof over their heads as soon as the housing application was approved. The struggling father found it hard to believe. He said, "I think I'm in shock. In fact, this has made me believe in people again." The gesture was enough to send James and his daughter to tears, despite the fact that it was a hand-up rather than a handout, and that they said he had already put in the majority of the effort to get his life together. In the past, he had almost given up on mankind since life had been so difficult and people had been so uncaring. Nothing mattered more than the happiness and future of his daughter. Despite their difficult past, James was determined to be the best parent he could be in this new city, which offered a fresh start. Would the amazing generosity of strangers be sufficient to give them a fresh start at last? While they awaited the processing of James's home application, Sergeant Dave Hoover and his family had been storing the donated things in their garage. It's up to him now. This serves as his starting point, and he will be waiting for his daughter to return home from school by himself as we exit this apartment. Sergeant Dave Hoover stated in an interview that he has to start from there. He's going to start on this path. "Being a part of the community is crucial," he continued. "I'm in awe of how fast we've accomplished this. I've always been trained to always provide assistance rather than a handout. Everyone wants to assist, and James has put forth a lot of effort to bring himself together." In 2 weeks, James had gotten 5 job offers. The housing application was approved, and Maddie and James would now have a secure place to live. "Washer, dryer, dishwasher, microwave. I'm so happy," James stated. "I have never had a better apartment than this one. I'm ecstatic," he continued. "It's incredibly unexpected, but I think it's really nice. I think it's awesome." Not only that, but James and his daughter had something they didn't believe was possible: a home, a supportive community, caring leaders, and the assistance that would allow them to finally enjoy the future they had always imagined. None of it would have occurred if it weren't for one instructor with a kind heart. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.